सियावर रामचंद्र की जय।
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
जग में साचो तेरो नाम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
तू ही माता तू ही पिता है
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 तू ही तो है राधा का श्याम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
तू अंतर्यामी सबका स्वामी
तू अंतर्यामी सबका स्वामी
तू अंतर्यामी सबका स्वामी
तू अंतर्यामी सबका स्वामी
तेरे चरणों में चारों धाम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
तू ही बिगाड़े तू ही सवारे
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 इस जग के सारे काम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
तू जगदाता विश्व विधाता
तू जगदाता विश्व विधाता
तू जगदाता विश्व विधाता
तू जगदाता विश्व विधाता
तू ही सुबह तू ही शाम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम
हे राम हे राम ॐ श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय।
ॐ ऐं सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय नमः। Om Namo Narayanaya, revered Prabrajika Ishta Pranamataji and dear devotees. The discourse today is entitled The Glory of the Name of Sri Rama. It is said that in the city of Ayodhya there was a great festive mood. It was the auspicious day of the Namakarana, or the naming ceremony of the sons of King Dasharatha. Sage Vashishta, who was also the family guru, was given the sacred responsibility to suggest suitable names for the 4 children. The 3 younger children were given the names Lakshmana, meaning one who is endowed with noble qualities, Bharata, one who revels in the light of knowledge, and Shatrughna, meaning one who destroys all enemies. The eldest son of King Dasharatha and his queen Kaushalya had to be named. Sage Vashishta, the great Brahma Rishi, knew that this was no ordinary child. Lord Narayana himself had chosen to take birth in human form to destroy the demoniac forces, protect the virtuous, and re-establish dharma. Thus the name should not only reflect the infinite glory of the Lord, but it should also become a ferry for seekers to cross over the ocean of samsara or transmigratory existence. The name should therefore be short, yet ambrosial to utter and hear, and it should be simple and yet most powerful. Sage Vashishta contemplated on the great and most powerful 8-lettered Vaishnava mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya, and the 5-lettered Shaivite mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, to settle on a name. Selecting Ra, which is the enlivening portion of the 8-lettered mantra, and Ma as the enlivening portion of the 5-lettered mantra, we see it forming the word Rama, the name then attributed to the eldest son of Dasharatha. Ra represents the ultimate reality, the spiritual goal, because it originates from the word Narayana. Ma originates from Namaha, and therefore it represents the path to be taken to reach the goal. Hence the word Rama is complete by itself, because it represents both the goal and the path to be taken by the seeker. It is said when the hunter-turned-sage Valmiki was initiated by sage Narada with the Rama Nama, he found it difficult to chant. So he started chanting Mara Mara, which when chanted continuously becomes Rama Rama. The word Mara means death, change, finite or mortal. The reverse of this word, which is Rama, therefore means life, changeless, infinite and immortal. Rama Nama is also known as the Taraka Mantra, the mantra which helps an individual obtain absolute bliss. It is said that in the holy city of Kashi or Benares, where Lord Shiva is known as Vishwanatha, he knows the glory of Rama Nama and has taken it upon himself to deliver every individual from the bondages of samsara, to grant them mukti or liberation by whispering Rama in their right ear at the time of death. This is a very vision beheld by Sri Ramakrishna on him visiting Benares. The Ramayana also shows that when Hanumanji had to cross the ocean to Lanka to locate Mother Sita and identify him as a messenger of Sri Ram, he placed the signet ring of Rama with his name engraved on it in his mouth. Significantly, this means that the tongue should take to the chanting of the Lord's name. The jewel of Rama Nama not only beautifies the tongue and makes the individual more cultured, but it also helps the devotee to easily cross the proverbial ocean of samsara. It was Rama's name too that was written on the huge rocks that enabled them to float on the water during the building of the bridge to Lanka to enable the armies to cross. This is another example of the power of Rama Nama. The glory of Sri Ram's name is said to be so efficacious that when Mother Parvati asked Lord Shiva for an easy method for chanting the Vishnu Sahasranam or the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shankara simply told her to chant Rama 3 times, the equivalent of 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. Once there was a great debate in Kailash, whether Sri Ram's incomparable strength and might is greater, or the power and glory of his name was greater. Nobody could arrive at any conclusion. Sage Narada, who also happened to be there, decided upon a plan to solve the problem. Narada took the help of Maya, the Lord's power of illusion. Maya created a Rakshasa creatures and sent them to create havoc in the kingdom of Kashi, whose king was a great devotee of Lord Rama. Seeing his people in trouble, the king set out to destroy these demoniac forces. The terrible creatures started to flee and he pursued them. One of them assumed the form of an ashramite and entered the sage Vishwamitra's ashram. The king discharged an arrow which hit this illusory form. Sage Vishwamitra became very angry on seeing an innocent ashramite being targeted. However much the king tried to convince the sage that this was a Rakshasa, he would not listen. The sage then walked off, warning the king that he will have to pay for his wrongdoings. Sage Vishwamitra then reached Ayodhya. There he narrated what had happened at his ashram and asked Sri Ram to punish the wrongdoer with death. And Sri Ram agreed. When he heard that it was a king of Kashi, his devotee, Sri Ram was taken aback, but he had given his word already to sage Vishwamitra. On the other side, the worried king was going back to his kingdom when he met sage Narada. On being questioned, he narrated everything to the sage. Narada asked him not to worry and sent him to Anjana Devi, the mother of Lord Hanumanji, for protection. Anjana Devi immediately granted the king protection. When Hanuman came, Anjana Devi told him all that had happened and had requested Hanumanji to help him keep his mother's words. And Hanumanji readily granted this protection to the king. The king happily stayed with Hanumanji. Neither the king, nor Hanumanji, nor Hanumanji's mum knew that Sri Ram had given his word to sage Vishwamitra to punish the king. Sage Narada came along and told Hanumanji that his mother that it was Sri Ram who had promised sage Vishwamitra to punish him. Hanuman was shocked and sad. It meant that he had to encounter none other than Lord Rama, his dear Lord and Master. In the meanwhile, Rama also came to know under whose protection the king was. He too was not happy. Rama and Hanumanji, both of them had given their words, and both were very firm on keeping to their words, and it therefore meant a conflict. Sri Ram came equipped with his bow to where Hanumanji was and asked him to surrender the king to him. Hanumanji refused to do so, saying that he had learned to keep his words from Sri Ram himself. And so words were exchanged. In the beginning they were soft and gentle, But slowly, the words exchanged became hard, firm, and heated. Finally, Sri Ram decided to use his strength and might against Hanumanji. Hanumanji on the other side was very clear. He was not going to fight the Lord. How could he? He asked the king to hide behind him. He sat down facing Sri Ram, closed his eyes and started chanting, Rama, Rama, Rama. Rama very reluctantly released arrow after arrow towards Hanumanji. Now these arrows, which never had turned back previously and always hit their target, could not even touch Hanumanji. In front of the power of Rama Nama, the arrows simply lost their power. All the devatas assembled in the sky to watch this unique spectacle between Rama and Rama Bhakti. Finally, Rama decided to use his Brahmastra to shake Hanumanji out of his samadhi. By then, everyone had come to understand the power and the glory of the name of Sri Ram. Sage Narada immediately brought Sage Vishwamitra, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva. Vishwamitra then told Rama about the play of Maya to prove to the whole world the power, the glory, and supremacy of the Lord's name. For nothing can equal or stand in comparison to Rama Nama. Hanumanji woke up from his samadhi, prostrated to the Lord, and asked for his forgiveness for having stood against him to keep his mother's words. The king of Kashi was overjoyed to have the glorious darshan of the Lord of his heart, and he too offered prayerful prostrations to the Lord. Everyone went back to their divine destinations, and Sage Narada too went away, singing the Lord's glories. Now, while mythologies and scriptures are abundant with the glory of Rama's name and grace, in the modern age also we hear the experience of his devotees who were blessed. One such experience may be recalled here. Swami Vivekananda was an unknown monk before going to America. After the master's passing, Swamiji wanted to travel throughout India from north to south as a wandering monk, living solely at the will and mercy and grace of the Lord. Mostly Swamiji traveled by foot and sometimes by train if some kind person provided him with a ticket, and he would live on alms alone. Once he was traveling by train on one of the hottest days, both thirsty and hungry, and he had not eaten since the previous day. A co-passenger on the train, a rich merchant, quenched his thirst with water, and while eating the rich food he had brought with him, went on chastising Swamiji for living on alms and not earning a livelihood, even though he was young and strong. Swamiji ignored his remarks and turned away from him. When the train reached the station, they both alighted and had to wait for the connecting train. The merchant sat inside in the shade in the waiting area, and Swamiji sat on the ground outside, leaning against a post. After a while, a man hurriedly came to Swamiji carrying a bundle and water in his hands, requesting the Swami to accept the food that he had brought for him. Swamiji was surprised and told the man that he must have mistaken him for somebody else, as he did not know him. The man insisted that there was no mistake, and he explained to Swamiji about the dream that he had had. The man said, after finishing his morning business in his sweetmeat shop, he went home. He had finished his lunch and was having a nap. And then he had a vision of Sri Ram, pointing out Swamiji to him, telling him that his devotee, Swamiji, was starving and without food since the previous day, and he should prepare some food and take it to the station to feed him. The man thought it was only a dream and went back to his nap. But again Sri Ram appeared and urged him to take the food immediately. The man told Swamiji that he had not mistaken him, as Sri Ram had already pointed him out. Swamiji was very moved and accepted the food with deep gratitude. The jeering merchant, who was witnessing the whole incident, was left stunned and came to apologize to Swamiji. Men made pranams and left. Thus we see Rama Nama is the only solution to the eternal problems of human existence. It provides mental poise and serenity which cannot be obtained by any other means. Sri Ramakrishna used to say again and again, and I quote, "There is infinite glory in God's name. The name is a seed, the name is a tree, and the name is a fruit. God dwells in his own name." Unquote. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Nanyaspriha Raghupate Hridaye Asmati Satyam Vadami Cha Bhavan Akhilantaratma Bhaktim Prayachcha Raghupungava Nidharame Kamadidoshaраhitam Gurumanasam cha.
Om Shri Sita Lakshmana Bharata Shatrugna Hanuman Sameta Shri Ramachandra Parabrahmane Namah. Shuddha Brahma Parat Pararam Kalatmaka Parameshwara Ram. Shuddha Brahma Parat Pararam Kalatmaka Parameshwara Ram. Sheshakalpa Sukha Nidrita Ram Brahmadyamaram Radhita Ram. Chandra Kirana Kulamangana Ram Shrimakasha तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम् मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम्। श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय। ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे। भक्त जनों के संगत भक्त जनों के संगत क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। जो ध्यावे फल पावे दुख विनशे मन का। स्वामी दुख विनशे मन का। सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे। कष्ट मिटे तन का। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण गहूँ किसकी। स्वामी शरण गहूँ किसकी। तुम बिना और न दूजा तुम बिना और न दूजा। आस करो जिसकी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम पूर्ण परमात्मा तुम अनंतरयामी। स्वामी तुम अनंतरयामी। पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर तुम सबके स्वामी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम करुणा के सागर तुम पालन करता। स्वामी तुम पालन करता। मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी। कृपा करो भरता। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम हो एक अगोचर सबके प्राणपति। स्वामी सबके प्राणपति। इस विधि मिलो दया में इस विधि मिलो दया में। तुमको मैं कुमति। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। दीन बंधु दुख हरता तुम रक्षक मेरे। स्वामी तुम रक्षक मेरे। करुणा हस्त बढ़ाओ करुणा हस्त बढ़ाओ। शरण पड़ा तेरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। विषय विकार मिटाओ पाप हरो देवा। स्वामी पाप हरो देवा। श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ। संतन की सेवा देवा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संकट भक्त जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे ॐ जय जगदीश हरे कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवन् भवानी सहितं नमामि भवन् भवानी सहितं नमामि मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष मङ्गलाय तनोहरि सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते ॐ श्रीराम कृष्ण भगवान की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय।
Om Namo Narayanaya, dear sisters and brothers. The Ramnam Sankirtanam is enchanting. It reveals the glorious qualities of Sri Ram and helps us to increase our devotion to him. Sri Ram is ever ready to help his devotees. In a beautiful prayer, Lord Shiva says to Mother Parvati, I delight in the beautiful name of Sri Ram again and again. For even once remembered, the name of Sri Ram bestows the fruit equal to the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. That is the Vishnu Sahasranam. We adore Sri Ram, who is most tender-hearted and compassionate and showers his grace on all. May he always abide in our hearts and protect us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Sarvesham Swastirabhavatu Sarvesham Shantirabhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम तत्सत्। जय श्री गुरु महाराज की जय, महामाई की जय, स्वामी जी महाराज की जय, गंगा मात की जय, महावीर स्वामी जी की जय, सर्व ऋषि मुनियों की जय, पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव की जय। श्री सियावर